Stella, baby. Finna get right. Here we go. Yeah, listen. I ain't really tryna hold too much pride. Feeling like Michael, how I beat those odds, yeah. She's a real winner, and I can't deny she fine as wine with time. I don't really care for the clout nor fame, but you better make sure you know my name, yeah. This is real life, and it ain't no game. When you see me in the skyline, knock me down, come back up. Watch your work, watch your strut now. I don't care what they say, I'ma still have my way. I'm alright, that's for sure. I know I can endure. Back and forth, on and on. Yes, I'm on quite a run, yeah.
Welcome to Rooted Within Her, your go-to podcast. We are founded off of Colossians 2:7, where we are rooted in Christ, strengthening our faith, and overflowing with thankfulness. I am Brittany Bossup, your host, a devoted mom, veteran, mental health therapist, author, international keynote speaker, and your wealth and wellness coach. We are going to be talking about mental health, storytelling, relationships, and making sure you feel empowered with a positive mindset each and every day. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. That's at Rooted Within Her. And go to our website, rootedwithinher.com, where you can get access to all of our resources to help you if you are a corporation looking to restructure your employee wellness, or if you are a divorced mom and you are looking for those resources to help you heal and rebuild. This is your go-to podcast. Again, that is rootedwithinher.com. Sit back and enjoy. It is Wednesday, and we're going to be talking about how trauma impacts our relationships. Psalm number 147, verse 3 says, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." And so if you are listening today and you have experienced a lot of heartbreak and you've just gone through so much, or you're like, why does it always have to happen to me? Why me? Why me? Well, I want you to know that there is a place that you can always go for true healing. And you don't have to worry about being taken advantage of or anything. And that is your own personal relationship with Christ. Just walking in this walk of love is it can't be compared to anything. And I say that because I used to share with people all the time, like, I would go to church and I would do all these things. But divorce has a way of either pulling you closer to God or taking you further away. And one thing it did for me is it brought me closer. And there's so much in God's word that I didn't even know when I was reading and studying the Bible that existed. But then also, as I would read like other books and just really dive deeper into really getting to know who am I and whose am I, and understanding my worth and my value. And so what happens when we talk about trauma, your brain shifts. And so the more trauma you have experienced in your life, the more your brain is going to shift and things are very traumatic for you. And so someone yelling, for someone who hasn't experienced trauma, they're good. They're like, okay, stop. Can you stop yelling? But for someone who has experienced trauma, where maybe they grew up in a household where yelling and then now it led to fighting and all of these things, it takes you back. So even though you're a full-grown adult in your 30s, 40s, 60s, or 70s, when someone yells, that's not yelling for you. You go back to that inner child inside of you who relives that moment over and over and over. And so I find this is a piece in a lot of relationships that's very hard for them, because one person's like, I just raised my voice, that's it. Like, that's the end of it. But people don't understand that if a person feels traumatized, that's not your job to tell them they're not traumatized. You cannot do that, because trauma is based off of their own life experiences. So if a person feels threatened, that's not your job to say, no, you don't. You don't feel threatened, because that is based off of what they have experienced in their childhood and growing up. I'll never forget sitting in a communications class in college, and the professor gave us the story. And it was literally where he was saying, like, this couple, the wife was like, hey, when he threw the plate, the husband got upset, he threw the plate across the wall, it hit the wall, the plate shattered. Next thing you know, she filed for divorce, she was done. And a lot of people in the class was like, what? Why? Like, why did it go that drastic? But when they investigated and talked to her and found out more about her background, she grew up in a home that was very dysfunctional. Parents fought, holes in the walls, things thrown around, just too much. And that took her back to that place. And she couldn't shake it because what happened was she entered transference, where, yes, that was her husband that threw the plate, but it took her back to a child where she saw her parents fighting. And so I want you to think about your own life and trauma. How has trauma really affected you? You might have been in an abusive relationship. You might have been with someone who yells a lot, or maybe you are the person who yells a lot, throws things, hits things, punches things, or whatever the case is. And so you have to think about, how has your childhood influenced you in the now? There was a point in my life where my childhood really just had me so pent up. I felt like I had no one I could express this to that would listen to me or could help me. And I just felt like I was just in this place and I didn't understand. And it was just so many things that were happening that were out of my control that I just felt lost. I felt lost. And then when you encounter the deep wounds of betrayal, when you think about the things that you might have gone through in your adulthood, that plays a role on your mindset as well. And that's why I meet so many adults who have worked the corporate ladder and they've done these things and they're successful. They're at the top of the ladder, but they're lonely and they're alone because they can't trust people because of the things they've gone through in their life, and they're hurting. But because they have found their work as something they poured themselves into, they've masked it all to get to where they thought they wanted to be. And this is why people can have money and not be happy. And so I want you to really think about yourself. There's a quote here. It says, until you heal it, it will keep showing up in every relationship. And this really stands out because I'll never forget having a client who was also a therapist, and she stated that she was literally counseling a guy for the third time. He keeps bringing these women in talking about it's them, it's them, it's them. No, sir. It's you. You are the common denominator. Now, we're not saying they didn't play a role. No. What we are saying is it's you. Okay? It is you. And so we have to be willing to stop, take a look. What is this? Where do I really want to be? When you envision a relationship, what do you see? I can't tell you how many people tell me they believe they've married a narcissist. They're charming on the outside, they're doing all these things and showing up and doing this and doing that. And then they find out this person is nowhere near who they thought it was. Because behind closed doors, that's where the real monster comes out. But no one would believe them because in the community they're giving and they're doing all these things. And that's why, as my friends and I say all the time, we listen and we don't judge. And that's because you never know what people are dealing with. You don't know. And so when people come to you and they share things with you, you have to be understanding and knowing, like, this is their story. This is their reality. This is their perception. This is how it happened based on their view sets. I mean, think about it. We can take Two people born in the same household, same parents, everything, same upbringing, but they can take two different perceptions of what happened. And one can become an attorney or a doctor and do all these amazing things, and the other could really just become homeless or just not have any desire to do anything because they feel like these are the cards that were given, so this is it. And it says a lot about your mindset. It really does. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about the connection between your unhealed trauma and your relationship struggles. I want you to think about how does trauma affect who you trust, how you communicate, and your emotional availability. And I want you to start taking those steps to healing. And how do you do that? If you say, hey, I need some help, okay, I want to join a life coaching program, I need some help, or I want some therapy, I want you to go to rootedwithinher.com. And that is where it all begins. And I want you to take your action steps to really just dive in deeper, get therapy, get the help, join our community. Make sure that you are being the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, okay? And as we close today, I want to end with this affirmation. Every challenge I face is an opportunity for growth. Every challenge I face is an opportunity for growth. And just know that no matter what you're going through in your life, that you will accomplish anything you put your mind to. And don't forget to check out my book, Unapologetically Divorced, as I read this excerpt. Acknowledge that toxicity often has roots that may go back to childhood, generational patterns, or unresolved traumas. Looking at my own experiences, I saw that one of my parents lived in toxic relationships, while the other brought that same toxicity into every interaction. Part of breaking free is examining whether there's something in you that you have become accustomed to or even drawn to in this cycle. I want you guys to be blessed, and remember, no matter what, you can accomplish anything you put your mind to, but it all starts with you. And don't forget, every challenge I face is an opportunity for growth. Thank you and be blessed. Thank you for listening to Rooted Within Her, your number one go-to podcast. If you heard something today that resonated with you, make sure you screenshot, tag us on all social media platforms, tell us what your thoughts were, what were your takeaways, and make sure you go to rootedwithinher.com so you can access all of our resources, join our challenges, find out about life coachings, and don't forget about our amazing, phenomenal retreats. So make sure you go to rootedwithinher.com. And again, thank you for listening. And I want you to have a super phenomenal day because you are God's masterpiece.